I'm gonna guess that almost every business owner's fear is that they're gonna launch something and either nobody's gonna buy or not enough people are gonna buy, or especially like you're gonna launch a group program and only one person signs up or something. And let me tell you, that just happened to me. But today I really wanna break down how I went from literally almost like a flopped launch of a group program, a high ticket group program where I had one person sign up, and then for literally like 2 months, I didn't have another person sign up, to literally having a 3K launch in the space of like what felt like a week, because I turned the flop launch into a launch that is now actually going to power the rest of my year. So this $3,000 launch that I had is for a mini group program that starts in the end of January. And from there, I'm going to be basically upselling people into an additional program. I already have some people interested in the additional program. And this almost like what started as this flop launch that I turned into this $3,000 launch is actually going to power what I think is going to be a 200K plus sales year for me in 2024. So let's break this down. I first want to tell you how I even got into that situation. So when I first started my business in September 2022, I was selling one kind of like high ticket service. I had scaled a $150 LinkedIn profile review session. This is back when I was only teaching about how to sell on LinkedIn. Now I've expanded my business where I also teach my clients on how to sell on Instagram, on TikTok, email, just kind of across the board, like content and sales in general. But in the beginning of my business, I was only selling, I scaled a $150 LinkedIn profile review into a $1,800 high ticket service. I managed to get my first 10K month in business 4 months in because of this high ticket offer. And I was very much selling one high ticket offer. So at that time, the only way to work with me was my LinkedIn profile optimization service. That was $1,800. And so ever since I did that, I kind of like didn't really love just having one offer in my business. I found that it was like a little bit boring. And so all of 2023, I basically dropped a lot of different group programs. I launched my very, very iconic fan favorite program called the LinkedIn Baddie program, helping business owners start getting clients on LinkedIn if they are already on Instagram. I launched a lot of like low ticket master classes. I did a lot of private coaching as well. I had variations of private coaching. And I also launched a low ticket membership. So 2023 was like my attempt to build a scalable offer suite, which is when you have everything from like low ticket to mid ticket to high ticket. And the idea is you have like a whole journey for your clients that they can continue getting support from you for various stages of their journey. And it's a way for you to upsell your clients so that you're not always having to go out and find new clients every single month, right? And you're really building recurring revenue. So I wasn't able to do that in 2023 just because I feel like I had a lot going on in my personal life. But what I really want to start with, and also I was just, kind of like not really as familiar with the scalable offer suite strategy. And so I kind of attempted it, but at the end of the year, I sort of felt like it wasn't really happening for me. So I just want to give you that context because this is all important for me to tell you why I started selling that high ticket program that's called Content Baddie. That was kind of like the flopped launch, let's call it. So basically what was going on last year in September, at the end of September, I launched a low ticket membership called LinkedIn Money Content. And at that time, I had just been going through a lot in my personal life, so I didn't really have like a lot of bandwidth for the business. I was also kind of like a little bit like not feeling very confident in my business. I wasn't really in the energy of like launching a lot of programs, right? So I decided I'm just gonna launch like a low ticket membership. I'm gonna slowly scale it. And the idea is I'm gonna add programs on top of that, right? I'm gonna have the next step, which is gonna be like a mid ticket offer and then eventually a high ticket offer. And the whole idea is I'm gonna kind of like incubate my clients in this membership. And then with time, I will like upsell them to other offers, right? So I started the membership and it was like a massive hit from the beginning. It was like these really nice content templates that I had. And spoiler alert, I'm actually relaunching the membership on January 29th, but it's going to be called the Baddie Money Method. And it is all about being able to post content on multiple channels. So still gonna have my content templates that my clients were literally in love with, but they're gonna be versatile where you can use them for LinkedIn, for Instagram, for TikTok, for emails. Like you can literally use it for anything because content is all the same. But anyway, so that's a spoiler alert. I'm bringing back the membership because I'm basically undoing all of the mistakes that I did last year. But the whole point is I started this membership and it was a massive hit. My clients loved these templates. One of my clients was able to literally write all her content for the week in 1 hour while chilling on the couch with the TV on the background on a Friday night. So, and she started landing clients on LinkedIn within 2 weeks. So, and a lot of my clients were repurposing these templates to Instagram where they started getting a lot of results on Instagram. And so there were all these like really great things happening with the membership. I was doing monthly Q&As. I was doing a lot of like master classes and stuff like that. And it was just like this little hub of like baddie energy, like a lot of just like business owners just putting their personality in their content, like using the right strategy in their content to really just like build visibility and convert clients, right? And a lot of them started landing clients from that. I think actually all of them that really implemented actually landed not just clients, but like very aligned dream clients, right? And so the membership was a massive hit. It was $97 a month, obviously, because it was a low ticket membership, right? And so as time went on, I started to feel like there were kind of like two things going on. The first thing that was going on was I didn't feel like I had the energy to launch another program, like a mid-ticket or a high ticket, and also run the membership. Like for some reason, I felt like it was just too much for me. The other thing that was going on was my clients, like I said, were repurposing both in the membership and in private coaching, were repurposing the content templates I'd given them for Instagram, right? The templates were technically for LinkedIn, but content is the same across everywhere. You just tweak it for every platform. But they were repurposing this content to Instagram and they were landing clients. Like people who had never landed clients on Instagram ever were like landing clients on Instagram with these templates, right? And what had also been going on in the background is I had been basically like supporting my business on, like not supporting, but I'd been making money on Instagram like all of 2023. And I'd always monetize my TikTok because 90% of my clients had initially found me on TikTok, right? But I had been only talking about LinkedIn. So I'd been basically in the LinkedIn box talking about LinkedIn for 4 years. And I was so tired of it that finally last year in October, I started thinking about expanding. I was like, I don't want to just talk about LinkedIn. I don't want to just be the person who people hire to like help them figure out LinkedIn. Like I want to be the content person because my forte is content and sales. It's not just like how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, how to create a hook for LinkedIn. Like I really wanted to be seen as someone who is like helping my clients with like content, sales, and eventually like offers and community building and all this stuff that is actually like not platform specific, but I know how to create a strategy for the different platforms, right? So this was all going on in the background. And I also kind of didn't really understand the concept of a membership and like how much scope should be included in the membership. And so long story short, I just like kind of felt like I needed to make more revenue because at $97 a month, it was going to take me a while to really scale the membership to a point where it was really like profitable, right? And so as all of this was going on, I wanted to really just like simplify my business. I was like, I don't want to have 800 things going on right now. Like I really just kind of need to buckle down and just like create an offer that can really sustain me for a bit until I figure out how to diversify with a scalable offer suite. So I unfortunately decided to shut down the membership, which was like very devastating for a lot of the baddies inside, which I still kind of like feel a little bit shitty about, but like a lot of them are coming back into the membership, thank God, because, you know, they're dream clients and they align with me and I've always like built a very strong community. But basically this basically sets me up for explaining to you why I decided to launch the program called Content Baddie. That was a very different vibe to the membership. It was a high ticket. I started it it was a 6-month group program, so it's scalable, centered around content, but also there was elements of sales. And the whole idea is that I'm helping you make content on multiple channels and reach all your potential clients and kind of like really build up your brand. And essentially it's like a 6-month, content and sales program, right? And when I first launched it, it was $1,000 a month. And then I raised the price to $1,300 after the pre-sale. And so it was like over $7,000 investment, right? And it was a 6-month commitment. And so I worked on it. I worked on the concept for a bit, and then I started kind of teasing it on my Instagram very soon, because I'm always a big fan of like literally just throw things into the market. I don't believe in what I call, so I used to be a product manager in tech, and one of the things that I learned as a product manager that I take with me as an entrepreneur and has like really helped me build incredible offers, test things really quickly, move fast, fail fast type of thing, is this concept of nothing interesting happens in the building. And what I mean with in the building is in your head, in your office, at your computer. Where things happen is when you push them out into the market, right? When you try to sell something, when you talk to your clients, when you launch an offer, when you like, these are the ways that you actually get feedback that allows you to then iterate and figure out like what it is that you actually should be selling, right? And so I started teasing the offer, and before I had really properly started teasing it, I had told everyone in the membership, hey, I'm shutting down the membership, but I'm actually running this like high ticket program, which I'm going to get back to that because that was a big mistake. But 2 of them actually were interested right away to like talk to me about the program. And other people were like, let me just like have some time. Like I probably will be interested in the future. And so one baddie in particular really just like wanted to jump on a call with me. And the thing with this baddie is she'd already been in one of my programs before the membership. So just put a pin in that because that's going to be important. But essentially, like, as I was getting prepared to tease this program on my Instagram stories and like LinkedIn and just kind of like start talking about it to my email list as well, I had jumped on a call with one of the baddies who was in the membership. And I basically pitched Content Baddie to her. And she was in right away, literally. It was like an incredible sales call. Like she is like an absolute dream client. She has leveled up so much in 2023. This 6-month container was actually really like the perfect fit for her because it was closer proximity to me. We could really like, work together closely to build her business, work on her content, work on her sales, and really scale her to like 10K months and beyond type of thing, right? And so that was great. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I haven't even like literally launched this thing and I already have one baddie in. And not only do I have one baddie in, I have like literally the most dreamiest client in this container. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the most incredible program. And so the other thing that I had decided was I was only going to run that program for a bit. What I mean by that is like for at least the first half of 2024, I was like, I'm just going to focus on this program. And I was very much like, people, if they want to work with me, this is the one place I'm going to funnel them. Everything's going to be super simple. It's going to be really scalable because it's not like, it's going to be bi-weekly calls. And I didn't actually give them any one-on-one calls with me, which like might have been a mistake. But anyway, it was a very scalable container, right? So I was like, I'm just going to funnel everyone in there. It's going to be super simple for my operations. I only really need like 5 to 8 baddies to like almost be hitting like a 10K month. So I was like, this is what I'm going to focus on for the first 6 months of 2024. And so I got a really good signal where, and another baddie was telling me that she wanted to jump on a call to talk about Content Baddie, right? And so I got a baddie in and I was like, fuck yeah, like this is gonna be awesome. And so I started teasing it on my Instagram stories. And as I started teasing it on my Instagram stories, I actually started getting DM inquiries very quickly. I think over the course of like 2 to 3 weeks, I probably had like 10 inquiries across Instagram, LinkedIn, email. It might have even been more. It might have been like 12 inquiries or something. So I was like, oh my gosh, like so many people are interested. So what I was doing at the time was I was jumping on a sales call with anyone who wanted to, inquire about the offer. So we jumped on a sales call and I started finding that like a lot of the baddies who were inquiring about the program really wanted to work with me, but a 6-month container at that investment level didn't feel like the right next step for them. So some of them were like a little bit earlier in their journey. And so I, even for a lot of them, even when we got on the sales call, I kind of just told them, I was like, I'm not 1,000% sure that this is the right step for you. And so I was actually kind of like, you know, almost like turning some people away. And that's a really important thing that I want to come back to, because that was a massive freaking mistake in my business that I'm never doing again. Turning people away who want to work with you, but you just don't have the right container with them. Like, I personally think that that's a massive waste, and that's just my opinion. But I think it's really important to have a way to get someone into your world in different stages, because otherwise they're going to go to someone else and they're not going to come back. Because I was saying like, oh, you know, maybe just go like work on X, Y, and Z, and then when you're ready, come back into Content Baddie. Which at the time I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense. But looking back, it's like people are not necessarily going to come back, because they're going to get help from someone else, and then either that person is going to upsell them, or they're going to go find someone else because they've forgotten about you. Yeah, right? Potentially, right? So I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'll talk about kind of like all the like lessons. I'll really hash them out in a bit, but let me just kind of tell you the story first. And so I was getting all these inquiries, but I like wasn't converting them, because I literally was like, this is not the right next step for you. And they were like, yeah, I don't think so either. Or it was just not the right type of client. You know, sometimes people inquire, it's just like not really like the right type of client. And so I wasn't really like converting people. And so at that point, it was like approaching the end of November, and I actually had a giant open cart. So typically we do open cart for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, where you basically like open it up for sales. It was going to be an evergreen program, by the way, which means that like people could join after January, people could join in February, but essentially I was doing like a big push for it. So like a big open cart, get yourself in. I was doing like bonuses, like I was doing all kinds of stuff to try and like get people inside. But literally end of November, it was like, I just was not getting people in, right? And then we started kind of getting closer to Christmas, and I started getting really stressed, because I was like, crap, okay, like I have one person in, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy she's in, but like, why am I not getting more people? And now we're going into Christmas, like people are going to be like a little busier, and we're getting so much closer to January. Like I totally thought I would have at least like 3 people by now, right? And this whole freaking time, I really want to just take a moment to talk about this part of the journey. This whole freaking time, I thought that I had a messaging problem, a marketing problem, a sales problem. Like literally, I was like looking at everything other than the offer, because I was so, and like I'm so kind of like I mean, I want to be compassionate towards myself, but like I am a little bit frustrated with myself, because one of the things that I truly believe in as an entrepreneur, that again I gained from being a product manager in tech, building a lot of different software products. I ran a lot of innovation teams where I was literally coming up with new product ideas, launching them into the market. And it's this notion of don't fall in love with your own ideas, right? And I think what kind of happened to me was, because I had committed to essentially only selling Content Baddie, at least in the first half of 2024, that was almost like a constant, right? And like when you decide, and this is why I personally no longer believe in the I'm just going to sell one offer type of philosophy, which works for a lot of people. I'm not saying it doesn't work, it just doesn't work for me, is because especially when you're launching it, if it's the wrong offer, at least for me, it was really hard for me to consider that, right? Like I felt like it was like, because I almost feel like I created the offer in a vacuum. It was like, oh, like, you know, I want people to work with me for 6 months. Like that's kind of where I came from it. I was like, I want people to work with me for 6 months, because that's how long it takes to actually drive a really sustainable, consistent result in your business. I want to retain people. I don't want to be finding new people all the time. So I was actually like a little bit selfish. Like I was kind of thinking about it from my perspective, but what I wasn't considering was where my audience was at, right? And so basically like I was trying to fix everything except the offer, right? And it wasn't until literally the end of freaking 2023, like I'm talking the last 5 days of 2023, that I finally got the light bulb moment, which I'll get to in a second. But I was basically so focused on this offer, and I literally remember talking to my husband at one point, because he's like my like advisor and like a big strategist in my business. I'm the CFO of my business and everything, and obviously he's my husband, he knows me well. I remember one time we were talking about it, and he was like, honey, like I really don't mean to like offend you, but like, do we need to get you some help with sales? Like maybe we need to like get someone to help you just like sell better. Like I know that sounds crazy because you've sold a lot of things before, but like, do you maybe need some support? And I was like, honestly, like maybe I do. I was like so confused. I was like, how, like, what the hell? Like I've never had so much trouble selling something. And so I was thinking like, oh, maybe because it's like a 6-month program, this is like the biggest thing I've ever sold. Like maybe it needs a different strategy, and like maybe I just need to be like really picky, and like all these things. And it just like really cracks me up, because there are so many times that I go on social media and I see someone's post, and the post literally goes like, it's not your offer. And it's just like, I used to not really like notice those posts, because I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's probably not your offer. You probably just need to like learn how to sell better, right? But let me tell you, sometimes it's your freaking offer. Because in my situation, literally the problem was the offer. So let me tell you, one of the things that I'm seeing in the online space, and that reflects how I buy personally as well, is people have lost a lot of trust, especially kind of like in the coaching industry. They've been burned before. They've paid a lot of money, not gotten results, like bought courses, hired coaches, joined programs, whatever, and not gotten results. And so people find it very difficult to kind of invest in a new coach, especially at a high ticket value, right? And so, and also people like to, they like to get a taste of what it's like to work with someone, right? Whether it's like even through like a free masterclass, or maybe like, you know, a low ticket product, or maybe just like a lower ticket service, right? I'm gonna get to that because that's what I figured out. And so people really want to get a taste. They want to take a low risk first step to working with you, get results from you. Also make sure that you align with them as a coach, and then they upsell, right? And this was something that like I had known and I had noticed in 2023, but I had sort of like, and talk about blind spots as an entrepreneur, I just hadn't really honestly taken a look at that. And I kind of just almost like ignored that piece of information. I was like, whatever, like I really want to sell a 6-month program. This is going to be easier for my business. And so that's what I'm going to do, right? And I got that signal, right? Got the first baddie in. I was like, this is going to be easy. Like I didn't even launch it yet. I got one baddie in, but I didn't realize that she was at a different part of her journey with me. She had already been in a $1,000 group program with me in the summer. And then she was in my membership. So she had gotten incredible results for her business, right? She had gone from like working with nightmare clients to working with dream clients, feeling way more confident in her content, getting on LinkedIn, like just really she'd gotten a lot of results, right? So when I was like, hey, do you want to join me, you know, at $6,400 for a 6-month program, she was like, I'm in, right? But that was the wrong signal to apply to the rest of my audience who hadn't yet worked with me in that capacity for that length and hadn't yet gotten those crazy results with me yet, right? So anyway, like for ages, I was so confused, but let me tell you, the whole freaking time that I was like struggling behind the scenes to sell this program, I showed up every freaking day on Instagram stories, in my Instagram feed, on LinkedIn. I was going live. I was sending emails. Like I was literally in it all the freaking time. I feel like so many business owners, they like don't get a few sales and they're just like, oh, like I'm not gonna like sell it anymore. No, I literally kept freaking selling that program. Like I really put the effort in because I just like, I believe that like you need to give it your best shot, because had I not, I wouldn't have figured out that it was the offer, right? Like a lot of the time we have to continue putting in the reps for a long enough time for us to actually figure out what the problem is, right? And so after a while, when I realized like, this thing just is not selling and my audience almost kind of like started talking to me, that's when I realized that they needed a lower ticket price point, touch point, right? So I want to really kind of like talk about what shifted for me and how I went from this flopped launch into not only a $3,000 launch for a program within 12 days, by the way, that like wasn't even going to start for another 3 weeks, that's going to be powering literally the rest of my product suite. Like I'm on a completely different trajectory right now, which I'll talk about in a second. Like I literally took my business to like, I don't know what the hell's going on. This thing's not selling. We have no idea how we're going to get out of this, to literally like opening this door that's like, oh my God, like this is exactly how we're going to make $200,000 in sales this year. Literally. So I want to really talk you through this. So at the end of December, I was obviously very fed up, right? I was working with a coach at the time who was part of the kind of like, sell one program at a time type of philosophy, which like in hindsight, not really my thing. Good coach, but probably not the right fit for me because I should have really done a scalable offer suite. But anyway, I had actually even paid for like one-on-one Voxer day-to-day coaching with this coach in December for like, $500 in order to help with sales. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, like I have a freaking sales problem. Like I was literally like throwing resources and energy and fucking everything at supposedly a sales and messaging problem when I had a freaking offer problem, right? Anyway, so finally, end of December, we're approaching Christmas and I'm literally just so fed up. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm so freaking sick of this. I don't want to just sit around here waiting. So I decided to randomly run a 10-day free Instagram Reels challenge on my Instagram stories. Literally December 21st, my husband and I are driving to yoga. And I said to him, I was like, because I wasn't at 1,000 followers on Instagram yet. I'm still not, but anyway, that's besides the point. I was like, I want to try and see if I can hit 1,000 followers before the end of the year over the holidays with Instagram Reels. Not because I need 1,000 followers, but because I was like, I wonder if I can actually like figure out how to do like Reels in a way to get 1,000 followers, right? Like I wonder, just let's do an experiment, see if I can like, grow to 1,000 followers intentionally with Reels, right? And literally from the time that I said that to him up until about 12 minutes into the yoga class that we were in, I had decided that I was going to run my first free challenge on Instagram. Mind you, literally all of 2023, I was like, I want to run a challenge. Like, I feel like it's such a good way to like warm people up. But I was like, oh, it's like so much work. You have to like create a Facebook group. You have to market it. You have to prepare it. Like, it's just like so much effort. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to work, right? So literally all of 2023, don't run a challenge. And then freaking December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas, I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to run a 10-day free Instagram Reel challenge on my Instagram stories. Like, what the hell? I don't have family where I live, so Christmas is not really like a big thing. My husband doesn't really celebrate it, so Christmas is very just like chill for us. And so I had a lot of time and I was like, I may as well just run a free challenge. But originally I was only going to do the Reels as an experiment privately. But then I was like, I guess I'll like talk about the experiment openly on Instagram stories. And then I was like, if I'm doing that, I may as well just share the prompt every day and have everyone join in, right? I was like, I don't even know if anyone is going to like care about this challenge. At one point I was even like, should I run this challenge? Like, it's Christmas. Does anyone care about growing on Instagram over the holidays? Are people seriously going to create Reels? But I think I was like so sick of just almost like being in the building. Like I said, like nothing was happening. Like content baddie was not working out. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm going to run a challenge. Like, let's make it easy. I was like, I'm not even going to get people to like sign up on email. No Facebook group. It's literally going to be just come to my Instagram stories every day, find the prompt, make the reel, tag me and I'll share you to my Instagram stories, right? That was it. Literally, I was like, I don't need your email. I don't even care if you make the reel every day. You make one reel in 10 days, great. Just show up to my Instagram stories. And it was also a way for me to like create a little more engagement on my Instagram stories, because I felt like I'd been selling this program that just like wasn't selling. And I kind of wanted to build a little bit of goodwill with my audience, not gonna lie. I was like, I kind of want to just like give, right? I feel like I need to just give at this point. And like, when like I don't know if you've ever had this, but when you have something like, I don't know, like you're trying to do something and then something like gets stuck and then you just kind of like slam it. Like you're just like, oh, like this fucking thing. Like maybe you're like hitting it against something. And then it finally kind of like goes loose, right? And you're like, oh, like I finally got it out. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like something in the dishwasher, like a chopstick got stuck and you kind of just like do that. But that's what I felt like I did with the challenge. It was kind of just like nothing was working. So I just kind of took my Instagram and just kind of like shook it with this challenge. And literally I posted about the challenge the next day, the 22nd of December, because literally there were 10 days left in 2023. So I was like, okay, 10 days, one reel a day, break 1,000 followers. So like gain 100 followers basically, because I had just over 900. I teased that night, came home, designed the graphic, very simple, teased it on my Instagram stories, like, hey guys, I'm doing something new tomorrow, stay tuned. The next morning, I launched the challenge. Within 2 hours, I had 3 baddies. They were like, I want to do the challenge. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh, like people actually want to do this challenge. 2 days in, another baddie was like, start a group chat. And I was like, shit, like these people actually want to like really make reels. Within like a few days, I had like 6 people in the group chat. Within like 3 days, and then within like 6 days, I had like 10 people in the chat, and it was like, and then all of a sudden, like all these people were making reels, literally. And it was like, there was one woman who like never made a reel before, literally recorded her first reel. By the way, since that challenge, she has been recording a reel every day. Literally, this woman, every time I freaking open Instagram, there's a new reel from her. She has grown her audience from like literally like 50 followers or something to like almost 200 by posting reels. So like this reel challenge was so successful for a lot of people. But all these people were posting these reels off of my prompts, and they were like sharing them to their stories. They were tagging me. I was like sharing them on the stories, and all these people were like, oh my gosh, like I love this challenge. I want to join, or like I'm going to do this after the holidays, or like, oh, I love what you're doing. This is so fun. Like I'm not making the reels, but I'm following along. Like this is so entertaining. So I really was like building community, right? And before I knew it, I decided I was going to like, I was really, whoa, sorry, I'm like falling here. But I was really in the energy of like, I'm just gonna turn down the heat because it's way too hot in here. But I was really in the energy of like, how can I just give more? Because I was like, content baddie is not selling. Like just give to your audience. Like who cares? Just like serve, right? So I was like, hey guys, like would you want to, because at one point I was like, oh, make sure your Instagram bio is optimized so that when you find people find you through your reel, they land on your profile, they actually become a follower, right? And a lot of them were like, oh, like I actually don't really know like how to optimize it. So I was like, let's do a free workshop. Great. I was like, let's do a free workshop. So I literally scheduled a free workshop for like the Thursday after Christmas. It was like the 28th or something. And I just literally, I was like, let's just do a free workshop. I'm going to teach you how to optimize your Instagram bio. Literally after I had the idea for that workshop, within 48 hours, I got a download for a brand new offer, and it was called IG Baddie. And it was initially it was going to be like, initially I thought about making it like 2 weeks or something, but in the end I decided to make it 5 weeks. And it was a group program to basically help you triple your Instagram audience growth, your engagement, and your dream client DM inquiries, right? And that's when I suddenly realized, I was like, I'm going to try to upsell some people either in the challenge or people who are watching the challenge into IG Baddie. I was like, I feel like there's some momentum, and I feel like the next step for these people is like a little 5-week program, right? So literally when I ran the free workshop, I promoted this program, and within like 48 hours of me promoting this program in that free workshop and in the real challenge, I got 3 baddies signed up. One of them even upgraded to the VIP experience because it was like a group program, and then you could upgrade for another. I charged them $397, right? Super, super like accessible, just like very no-brainer. And you could pay another $199, so $200 to basically be in a Telegram with me, a group Telegram with me for the 5 weeks, right? Where you get like extra accountability, access to my brain, all that kind of stuff. One baddie upgraded to the VIP. So literally within like 48 hours, I made like over $1,000 in sales. And I was like, holy crap, like this is crazy. Like I went from literally struggling to sell content baddie to like almost like instantly 3 people signed up. And then literally within 12 freaking days of teasing IG baddie, and eventually on the following Monday, I opened it up to the public where I raised the price to $497 because $397 was like the sweet deal for the real challenge people. Then Monday I opened it up at $497, and within 12 days, I had 7 baddies in total, with 2 of them upgraded to the VIP. Literally. That was over $3,000 in sales in like 12 days. So within a few, like less than 2 weeks of being in a flopped launch, I took myself to a $3,000 launch, 3,000 plus launch. And by the way, I'm not even done launching IG Baddie yet, because IG Baddie starts on January 29th. And I still have, as of this time of recording, this is like Sunday, 21st of January or something. So the week of January 22nd, I'm still going to be pushing IG Baddie. I still have my masterclass on Tuesday for IG Baddie, for how I basically grew on Instagram, that I'm going to like upsell people into IG Baddie. So literally 12 days of a launch, 7 women joined like that. Literally like no objections. Only one of them had a few questions because she's very early in her business. So she's kind of early to making investments. She really wanted to make sure this was like the right step for her. It was nothing about me. It was all about kind of like whether it was the right step for her. Literally every other baddie was like, send me the link, I'm in. Sure. Even one of the baddies in the challenge who was previously in my membership, when I told her about IG Baddie before I even shared it to the real challenge, she was like, I'm in, I don't even need the details. Like I literally didn't tell her the price. I didn't tell her the length. I just told her it's going to be a program to help you sell better on Instagram and create content. She was like, I love the momentum I built over the last few days with the challenge. Like I'm basically in, right? And then later when I shared the details with her, she bought right away, right? It was crazy. And so that was like monumental for me, because what I realized, I was like, I had an offer problem. And so I want to really kind of just like slow down here and explain to you, it's not like the content baddie offer is like the wrong offer always, and I can never run a program like that. Like no one will ever buy that kind of a 6-month container. No, that's not what I'm saying. There are parts of IG Baddie that kind of needed to be maybe tweaked in terms of like what you get and kind of the details, but the concept of it wasn't really the problem. It was just the timing of it, right? Most of my audience was just not ready for a 6-month commitment with me, when a lot of them hadn't really invested anything with me, right? Or a lot of them, their most recent investment with me was a $97 a month membership. So that was like a huge freaking jump. Like now when I look back on it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like that's insane. It's like you had a low ticket membership, you shut down the membership, and now you're like, hey, like the only way to work with me is $7,000 plus, and it's 6 months. Like what kind of madness is that? Like it's actually insane to me that like I thought that that was going to work. But again, as I talked to you in the beginning of this video, I shared with you why I drew that conclusion. And I think the big thing that I want to share at this point is, blind spots as a business owner are a very real thing. And that's why I always believe in being in mentorship, but also being in the right mentorship, right? Working with the type of mentor who is running the type of business that you want to run, right? And also someone who has a lot of experience launching a lot of different things, so that they can help you identify that, right? Because I had to literally figure that out on my own, right? Like I literally had to kind of struggle for a while, and then finally be like, oh my gosh, like people aren't ready yet for a 6-month container, right? But the thing that I really want to kind of highlight here to like make ourselves feel better, because there's really no point in just being like, oh my gosh, like how could I do that? The truth of the matter is, I did what I thought was the best thing for me and my business with the information that I had at the time, which was that, didn't feel like I had the bandwidth to launch another offer on top of the membership. Didn't feel like I could scale the membership. I was expanding my business beyond LinkedIn. Like I had just a lot going on. In my personal life, I had a lot going on, things that were very, very uncertain. And so it was just too much for me. And so I just kind of like decided to launch that high ticket program, right? And so I think it's really important for us to remember that like sometimes you're going to do things in your business that when you look back, you're just like, what the hell was I thinking? But I want you to really be kind of like kind to yourself. I mean, unless we're like literally repeating the same mistake like 13 times, and it's kind of like, okay, Batty, come on, like let's try not to do the same mistake again. But a lot of the time, I want you to really be self-compassionate and just really think about like, what is the data that I had at the time? Like, what was my thought process? What did I not know at that time that I know now, right? Hindsight 2020, like it's so easy to look back and just be like, obviously that was stupid. But in the moment, it's a little more emotional and there's certain pieces of information that we don't have. And also like sometimes we inevitably fall in love with our own ideas, right? And we just don't notice it, right? And so I think that was like the big thing that happened. But like I am so freaking glad because it's really funny because I thought that like if you have a flop launch, that it's like, it's going to be really, it's almost like the momentum's gone, right? But what the crazy thing is the whole time, like literally, it's like I was over there selling Content Baddie. I'm like, hey guys, like get into Content Baddie. Like it's going to be awesome, like all this stuff. And even though my audience was just like, not really the vibe, they were actually paying attention. They were watching me and they were waiting, literally. There were people out there in my audience who were waiting, either consciously or subconsciously, for me to drop the offer that they would want, right? The additional thing that's crazy is I'm also, as I mentioned, I'm relaunching my low ticket membership because I'm literally just untangling all the mistakes that I made at the end of last year, relaunching my membership. It's going to be so much more epic because it's going to be content templates again for Instagram and LinkedIn. And it's actually not going to be just content because I'm going to be having trainings on like how to get clear on your ideal client, a little bit of basics on like offers, sales, how to build a community. There's going to be like so much more in the membership. It's going to be like literally so much more epic. But basically I am launching my membership, relaunching my membership, but because I'm launching IG Baddie publicly on my Instagram stories, I had to find a way to secretly launch my membership without kind of confusing people. There's a whole other thing I'm not going to get into right now, where actually this is going to be the first and only round of IG Baddie because I've made some difficult decisions around my product suite. Again, trying to really simplify and really just optimize the journey for my clients, not falling in love with my ideas. I feel like that's a whole other separate video. But basically, I decided to relaunch my membership. I started kind of talking about it a little bit on my Instagram stories, and I decided to start a close friends list on my Instagram stories. It's something that I've wanted to do for like a year, literally, but I was always like, it feels so complicated. But I'm very in the energy now. Ever since that reel challenge, I'm literally in the energy of like, let's just do it. Let's simplify it. It feels hard. Who cares? Like make it simple. Like don't not do it just because you're scared of all these like stupid assumptions. Like, oh, like there needs to be a Facebook group for a challenge. Like you need to like market the challenge before it starts. Like all this bullshit. I literally broke all the rules and literally like essentially fixed my business. And so with the membership that I want to tell you about is I then told people, I'm like, hey, I'm launching a new low ticket membership to help you with X. converting content, bring in clients with your content, DM me close if you want to get on my close friends list. And by the way, if you want to get on my close friends list, DM me close on Instagram, because there's a thing called Backstage Baddie, where basically when you join my close friends list, you're on Backstage Baddie, which is almost like Backstage Pass. So you get to get access to special launches, like for example, the membership that I'm only launching on my close friends list, and the BTS of my business. I'm really breaking down kind of like the real and raw and sort of like the decision making that's going behind a lot of the stuff that's happening publicly. But anyway, I asked people to DM me close, and literally within like 2-3 days, I've had 7 women DM me close. Mind you, I have less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, right? So like not a giant audience, but I have literally warmed up my audience like crazy. And I truly believe that during my flopped launch of Content Baddie, because I kept showing up, I kept sharing my client results, I kept sharing my story, I kept educating, I kept serving, I kept creating value, I kept like building my community, I kept building my movement, people were watching, right? And so I think it's so important to continue showing up, because even if the thing you're selling is not selling, you are still building your community. And so I truly believe that what felt like a dead period, people were still watching during my kind of flopped Content Baddie launch. And then when I went into the challenge, people really kind of like, got into that. I started selling IG Baddie, and now when I'm launching the membership, it's like people are hot, right? So I literally heated up I remember, you guys, I'm literally telling my husband yesterday, I was listening to a podcast yesterday that I listened to in November that was talking about like what content to post depending on the temperature of your audience, right? So like, do you have a cold audience? Do you have a warm audience? Do you have a hot audience? And I remember listening to that podcast, and I was paying attention to the cold audience part, because I was like, oh my gosh, like my audience doesn't see me as an authority, like they're a cold audience because they're not jumping on my offer. But it was actually the wrong troubleshooting, because it's not that they were cold, it was the wrong offer. And so literally yesterday I was listening to this podcast episode, and it was so crazy, because the part where she talks about a cold audience and what to post then didn't apply to me. And I was like, oh my God, like I have either like a warm or a hot audience. I'll tell you the other thing. Literally a week and a half ago, I accidentally talked to my Instagram stories. I was in the DMs with someone who wanted help with offers, basically, right? They wanted more help with their offers. That's something you don't get in IG Baddie. And it actually wasn't something that you were going to get inside Content Baddie, which was, I think, a massive mistake. So I am so happy that Content Baddie didn't work out, because it actually didn't fully embody what I can help my clients with, which is also offers, because I've had some crazy results in my business with offers. And now I have experience of a flopped launch, which is so freaking valuable. Like the thing that makes coaches and mentors valuable is all the mistakes that they've made along with their successes, because we're able to pinpoint this stuff. Because like I'm telling you, I had a freaking offer problem, and the whole time I was like, it's the messaging, it's the audience. Like, how do I do that? Do I need to hire someone to help me with selling? No, you just need to sell a fucking another program, right? And that's why I'm going to be able to pick these things up with my clients way quicker. Anyway, so I need to get back to the thing I'm telling you. Client wanted help with offers. So I was basically creating a new offer. Like literally, I am in the launch for IG Baddie. I know my membership is coming down the pipe. I'm preparing a third freaking offer, my mid-ticket offer, talking to her in the DMs, and I didn't want to bombard her in the DMs. So I was like, I'm just going to talk on my stories, which by the way is a lot of what I do when I'm in the DMs with someone. I don't want to like bombard them with information very like in their face. I'll start talking about stuff on my stories because I know they're looking at my stories, and so that way they get that information, right? Through like nurturing, or maybe I'm like shifting beliefs or like asserting my authority, whatever. And so basically, I talked about this offer about offers, super meta, but I literally had another 2 baddies reach out about that story, and they were just like, oh my gosh, like I think I actually need help with this too. Both of those baddies are already in IG Baddie, including the third one including the first one who was originally inquiring about this. So can you understand how like I literally went from what I thought was a cold audience, barely getting any bites from my program, to literally people being like, I want this vague thing that you posted 2 stories about. And now I like both, like all of those 3 people I've talked to in the past like 3 days. It's right now Sunday, January 21st. And it's been like maybe like a week and a bit since that Instagram story. And literally all 3 have confirmed, please send me the details of this new program that you're launching. Literally, I haven't even talked about this program publicly. I don't even know the name of the program. I just know the length of it, the vague price point, kind of like what's in it, and obviously what I'll be teaching on. But I literally don't even have the graphic for it. Like, I don't even know exactly the fine details of what's included. And already 3 people are like, oh my gosh, like, can you share the details? Because I actually freaking woke up finally and I did that thing where I just shook my Instagram, and all these freaking people came out of the woodwork and they're just like, oh, I want this. Put me on the close friends list. I want to be an IG baddie. Are you running round 2 of IG baddie? Oh, like, what's this next thing you're building? Oh, like, can I get in the membership early? Like, literally, it's like, I'm telling you, I went from the person who was like, why is no one DMing me, to literally like, I have so many things that are going right now on in my business. Like I said, I'm still in the launch for IG Baddie. I haven't even finished that launch. Like, I'm still thinking, I'm still like, my goal, I have 7 people inside. I want to add another 6 people to IG Baddie because it doesn't start for another week. I have a masterclass where, by the way, also I have 18 people signed up for the masterclass because I've been selling every day, but also I've heated up my audience, right? And it's just like, I think the kind of like final thing that I really want to like leave you with is, things can change so fast in your business, but what you have to do is you have to, baddie, you have to get out of the building. You cannot stay in the building. This like literally makes me emotional, but you cannot stay in the building. Nothing happens there. You will have no conclusions. You will just continue to feel like crap because you're going to be in the dark, because you are not putting things out there to get feedback, right? As soon as I put myself out there and I started moving bigger, I started being more bold. I stopped caring about like, oh, but is it going to be too much offer? Is anyone going to do it? Literally, I was like, I'm doing it because I'm doing it for me, because I need to wake up and freaking revive myself from this like launch that felt like pulling teeth. Like, you have to literally throw yourself out there and just go like this. Like, be doing stuff over there, jumping around, like talking about, like, you literally have to take up so much space for you to be like noticed, but also to like it's almost like pull enough levers to see like one of them is literally gonna like dump a bunch of freaking opportunities on you, and then you can take those opportunities and layer on top of them like I am. Like, I'm telling you, I went from being like, I legitimately have no idea when my next kind of like solid 10K month is going to be, to literally being like, I'm going to make $200,000 in sales this year because I can actually see it with this offer suite. And like, maybe January is going to be a 10K month. February for sure is going to be a 10K month with the rate that I'm going, right? It's like, I literally went from like such a crappy place in business to like feeling completely different. Like, I feel completely different. I'm in the energy of like, whatever I drop on my Instagram story, someone is going to inquire, because number 1, warm audience, but also number 2, I'm actually listening deeply to what my audience needs. That's why IG Baddie was 70% sold out 12 days into my launch, 3 weeks before the program even started, and why all these people are signing up, like asking to be on my close friends list for the membership launch. I even have one baddie who's already, by the way, like in the membership. Like, she's literally coming in tomorrow early because she's an OG. So I'm giving her like early access. And I have 3 people interested for the next program that, like I said, I don't even have a name yet, because I'm listening, right? I'm not in the building. I'm not blindly being like, no, this is like 6 months offer, the only way to work with me, like all this shit. I'm actually listening. I'm like, okay, These people want a 5-week program. They want something manageable. They just want to come into my world. Let's make it. Next step, they want help with offers. They want help with selling offers, funnels, community events. Great, awesome. Let's do the next step. It's going to be this length. I'm not going to share too much about that just yet because I'm first going to share it with the 3 people who kind of like want early deets on it. But yeah, my biggest like learning through all of this is get out of the fucking building. Get out of the building, go out there, talk to people, launch things, do a challenge, do a masterclass, talk about something crazy. I don't know. Go make a bunch of moves. And one of them, I guarantee you, is going to open a freaking thing. Like, it's literally going to be like, what the hell? I didn't even know. It's like when you're in your house and there's like a closet and you open it and a bunch of shit falls on you and you're like, I had no idea I had that up there. That's what it feels like. Okay. So now that I've literally been like yelling at you for like an hour about this, I'm going to wrap this up. But let me know if you love this episode. Drop a comment because I love talking about how to turn failures into something that is so juicy with opportunities. I truly think that every failure, I even hate calling it a failure, is your secret to your next level. You just have to figure out how to shake the box and get the people to come out of the woodwork, right? And so I'd love to hear what your biggest light bulb moment was with this video, what you're currently doing. Are you a business owner? What kind of business do you run? What kind of offers do you have? Are you just selling one offer? Are you trying to build a scalable offer suite? Are you in the beginning of your business? Are you like 3-5 years in? I want to hear. And most importantly, what your biggest light bulb moment is, because I really love this episode. I wanted to share this super transparently with you because I think we need to talk about it more and really just kind of show you that, you know, failure, you can use your failures to build authority, right? So even just like think about what are the things that you majorly effed up in your business that you've now learned from, that you're now moving in a different way. How can you use that to educate your ideal client? Because trust me, they need to hear that, because I started this live with saying, I started this video saying, I bet you most business owners' fears is they launch something no one buys, or they launch a group program and only one person buys. And trust me, having been through it, it's really not that scary because you can turn it around. And there is momentum secretly building that you probably don't see, okay? I hope you liked this episode and I'm excited for more episodes like this. All right, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see you in the next one, baddie.